Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna, it's gonna kind of gonna go along with last episode where we did Annabelle. Well, this is the entire Conjuring universe, so like this might be 30 minutes or something. From what I can tell, it is really long. I'd say 30 minutes ish. But it'll actually be 30 minutes if I don't start reading now. Alright, cultivating a successful film franchise isn't an easy task, but Warner Bros. Struck gold with The Conjuring. James Wan's 2013 horror flick didn't just do well with critics. It was a hit at the box office and paved the way for a seemingly endless number of profitable films. And most of these tales, aside from The Curse of La Llorona, are based on the exploits of Ed and Lorraine Warren, real-life paranormal investigators who worked during the better half of the last century. Over the course of their 50-plus year careers, they documented numerous supposed hauntings, and their work inspired Wan to create this creepy franchise. But as more Conjuring spin-offs and sequels are added to the ever-growing series, keeping track of those whose, whens, and wheres can get a little confusing. While Wan has always contended it's been his intention to build an entire world based on Ed and Lorraine Warren's many case files. The films they're based on jump around chronologically. Sorry. Also, I am gonna, from where I got this in the description, I'm gonna have the link so you guys can read it if you want, And so I'm not taking on these people's work. It sucks because I got rid of the other things for the other videos, so I might find that if not, then I'm sorry, but anyways. Luckily, we've made sense of who's who in this tangled web and when everything in this terrifying franchise takes place. From freaky nuns to haunted houses, here's the entire Conjuring universe story explained. Alright, anyways. So this is the first episode I actually did an intro, so I hope you like it. I might do an intro, I might not. Guess we'll find out. Anyways. 1952, Romania. Meet the Nun. Chronologically speaking, the Conjuring universe all starts with The Nun, released in 2018. This freaky film takes place in 1952 at the Abbey of St. Carta in Romania, where Father Burke and a okay, I cannot pronounce most of these, so I'll just spell it out. Novitiate. Sister Irene have been dispatched by the Vatican to investigate the suicide of one of the abbey's nuns. After a bit of research, they discovered the nuns have been spending most of their time praying in shifts to keep a nun-shaped evil entity from hitchhiking its way out into the real world on a human host. As it turns out, the abbey was originally built by a duke during the Middle Ages who was more interested in demon worship than Catholicism. He managed to raise the demon Valak, but was stopped by a group of Christian knights who were able to steal Valak, at least temporarily. With the help of a nice local man named Frenchie, Father Burke and Sister Irene finally banished Valak back to hell, I should say. It's technically not a bad word. Thanks to an ancient artifact filled with the blood of Jesus Christ, or at least they think they've been the demon. But as it happens, Valak manages to hitch a supernatural ride out of town on Frenchie's back. Who or what is Valak? The Valak character in the Conjuring universe may have taken its inspiration from a demon named Valak, with a C, not a K at the end. Here, I click the link. I want to see what Valak is. With a C. Okay. The demon Valak appears in Grimoire's Book of Incantations, the discovery of witchcraft, the Lesser Key of Solomon, Pseudo-Monarchia, Daemon, the Book of Spirits, the Book of Oberon, and Dictionary Infernal. Okay. So I'm gonna restart that paragraph. The Valak character in the Conjuring universe may have taken its inspiration from a demon named Valak, with a C, which is described in Aleister Crowley's The Lesser Key of Solomon as a child with angel's wings riding on a two-headed dragon. So the Conjuring Valak is clearly not a child, and it doesn't have angel's wings. Whether or not it rides a two-headed dragon is up for some debate, since who's to say that the dragon didn't get left behind when Valak crossed over from hell. One very specific thing that's mentioned in both mythologies, however, is their connection to snakes. Like Crowley's Valak with a C, who's known to tell where serpents may be seen, the Valak of the 1950s Romanian monastery has its own tie to the biblical reptile, along with a much more impressive title, the Defiler. The profane, the Marquis of Snakes, and as it turns out, Valak with a K will be a recurring character and an overarching villain of the Conjuring films, even making a brief cameo in Annabelle creation. And speaking of haunted dolls, 1943 to 1967, Southern California, here comes Annabelle. Technically, the story of Annabelle, the demon doll, starts in 1943 with Annabelle creation, when a dollmaker named Samuel Mullins and his wife Esther lose their 7-year-old daughter Annabelle in a freak car accident about 12 years later. I completely saw later as ago, which does not make sense. 1943 was 12 years ago. Anyways, in 1955, the Mullins decided they've spent enough time without a child, so they opened their doors to a group of orphan girls and the nun tasked with their care, a woman by the name of Sister Charlotte. When one of the orphans, a handicapped girl named Janice, stumbles upon a porcelain doll in a locked bedroom, she unwittingly releases a demon that wreaks havoc on the house and its inhabitants. Excuse me. It's soon revealed that following their daughter's death, the Mullins had been tricked into letting a demon take possession of one of Samuel's dolls, and it's now decided to try and find a human host. 1 second. Oh man, that sucks. All my things are unplugged. Anyways, sorry. By the end of the ordeal, the demon has succeeded in possessing Janice, who escapes and now going by the name Annabelle, winds up being adopted by a nice family in Santa Monica. where she grows up, runs away, joins a cult, and then returns to murder her adoptive parents. Talk about a downbeat ending. Alright, 1967, Santa Monica. Annabelle comes back. As it turns out, the night... Oh my gosh. I just realized, literally, we're not even a quarter of the way through this. So, I might do a part 2 and a part 3. As it turns out, the nice family that adopted Annabelle lives next door to John and Mia Form, the main protagonists of 2014's Annabelle. John has given his wife Mia an antique porcelain doll as a gift for their unborn child. But after Janice/Annabelle and her boyfriend kill her parents, they move on to the Form Resistance, where Annabelle immediately takes a liking to Mia's antique. I like your doll, she whispers, for slicing her own throat and transferring the demon back into its original home. Terror sets in as the demon doll decides that Mia would make a nice soul sacrifice. The couple is helped by a local bookseller named Evelyn and their parish priest, Father Perez, the latter of whom tries to take the doll to Ed and Lorraine Warren, but is attacked before he has the chance. Willing to sacrifice her own soul to save her newborn daughter, Mia tries to jump out of her window with the doll. Luckily, John and Evelyn arrive in time to stop her, and Evelyn takes the doll in Mia's place. In the end, an unsuspecting woman buys a doll from a toy shop as a gift for her daughter, a nurse. Yeah, this isn't going to end well. 1968 to 1971, Massachusetts. Annabelle, the Warrens, and Frenchie are finally all together. Here's where we finally get our first introduction to Ed and Lorraine Warren. That nurse, whose very nice mother had given her a very hideous doll as her present, is now at the mercy of the demon spirit, trapped inside the toy, and she needs the Warrens' help in exorcising the thing. After all, this isn't the spirit of a 7-year-old girl who wants to play. There's only Annabelle, and she wants her soul. So the Warrens take the doll off the nurse's hands. It's what Father Perez was trying to do a year ago, and move on to their next case. In 1971, in Wakefield, the Warrens are teaching a class on demonology at Massachusetts Western University. During the lecture, they play footage of a possessed man named Morris, who Ed explains killed himself after attempting to shoot his wife. Not even an exorcist could bring him back, he says. Murray is a French-Canadian farmer who, by this point in time, had been possessed for nearly 2 decades. Does he sound familiar? He should, since Morris is Frenchie, the nice guy who spent some time in Romania in the 50s and came home with a demon nun as a souvenir. Okay. So, we'll read, let's see. Yeah, we'll read until the La Llorona part, which is 2 more sections of, the dates and stuff, or whatever. You'll see. 1971, that's one. Rhode Island. Things get extra creepy in The Conjuring. One of the attendees at the Warrens' demonology lectures, Carolyn Perrin, a wife and mother whose family has recently moved into a Rhode Island farmhouse. And unfortunately, they're now being tormented by a malevolent, clap-happy spirit. After some digging, the Warrens discover the house was built on land that was once belonged to a witch named Bathsheba, who sacrificed her week-old child to the devil before hanging herself. And then she spent the following century possessing and killing future residents. Man, I love the story of Bathsheba and the Perrin family. Man, I just love it. Just amazing. Anyways, Ed and Lorraine suggest the family move into a motel temporarily, which they try and get the Catholic Church to agree to an exorcism. But Bathsheba has already set her sights on Carolyn, and the now possessed mother brings her kids back to the house to kill them. The Warrens show up in time for Ed to perform a rogue exorcism on his own, and the curse of Bathsheba is lifted, leaving the parents with a livable farmhouse and the Warrens free to move on to a new case. Also, guys, I forgot to mention, next year, I think 2024, they're creating another Conjuring, and next year they're creating The Nun too, which is like, I think almost like in exactly a year, I think. So then I'd have to probably redo this. So if you guys are looking forward to that, then just tell me in the comments. Alright, last one. 1972, California. Annabelle returns to the Conjuring universe one last time. When Ed and Lorraine Warren are needed on an overnight investigation, they hire a girl named Mary Ellen to stay over and keep an eye on their daughter, Judy. This turns out to be a terrible decision because not only do the Warrens at this point in time have an entire room devoted to possessed objects in their home, but Mary Ellen has a friend named Daniela who really wants to speak to her dead father. Daniela drops by the house uninvited and does what any girl in her position would do. She finds a way into the Warrens' artifact room, disturbs Annabelle, and unleashes every ghost and demon in the Warrens have trapped in their basement. Sort of. It's explained when Annabelle comes home that the doll isn't actually possessed. She's a beacon for other spirits, more or less a conduit for anything trying to get loose. The goal is to put her back in her case, which will calm the rest of the artifacts, but the girls have to find her first, and she isn't much in the mood for being locked up again. The girls spend the night essentially playing hide-and-seek with a bunch of possessed objects. The Bride, the Samurai, the Ferryman, and a Feely-Mealy board game, before Annabelle is returned to her case, once and for all. Alright guys, well, I have to make multiple parts on this because this video is like over 15 minutes long, and I like keeping, I like capping it off at around 15-20 minutes. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.